Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap. I'm Surbhi and this is Perspective 360 Degree, your one-stop solution for current affairs, descriptive writing and answer writing evaluation. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, we prepare you for your regulatory bodies examination. And if I talk about Perspective 360 Degree, this initiative is aimed at helping you for phase 2 part, which contains descriptive writing portion for which many of you face trouble. So what we do is we take topics from current affairs which fit in your syllabus, which are relevant from your syllabus point of view, and which have a high frequency to be asked as questions in descriptive portion of your exam. So we take a question answer approach. It's not just a topic discussion, it's also the framing of an answer that happens side by side as I take you through. Also, the special part about this initiative is that you can post your answers in the comment section under this video after I complete this live session, and that can be done for the next 48 hours only. And in those next 48 hours you also get a free evaluation if you post your answer, and the evaluation is very comprehensive. Many students have benefited out of it and it has helped them in their selection in their phase 2 examinations, so kindly benefit out of it. First of all, Gomati aspirant, good evening all of you. While in the discussion, if you have any problems or any additions to make, kindly let me know in the chat section. I will look at your messages as we move along. So the topic for today is manufacturing sector. Is India missing out on an opportunity? Opportunity for what? Opportunity to expand the manufacturing sector. And why is manufacturing sector important? Why are we focusing on expanding the manufacturing sector? I'm sure you must have heard about that India is, fifth largest economy, becoming the third largest economy, sixth largest economy. We are amongst the topmost economies of the world because of our population, because we have a lot of people who are contributing towards the economy. So yes, India is the biggest economy and one of the biggest economies of the world. Now there is another term that is associated with Indian economy, and that is called jobless growth. Jobs are not there. Youngsters, they find themselves unemployed. Industries which are posting jobs, they do not find people with relevant skills, and people with relevant skills do not find adequate jobs for them. So that is a problem, and that can all be sorted with the help of manufacturing sector. India did not have an industrial revolution like the Western nations, so we always have a problem of unemployment because our employment is driven by the services sector or the agriculture sector, which is not very remunerative as of now. So this sector becomes very important, and if you ask me if there is a question which has a very high probability of being asked in your exam, whichever exam you're preparing for, it is this question. All right, the focus of government is on manufacturing sector. So there was some news articles which have been seen in the past few days from this topic. Manufacturing sector lags despite over 13% growth in gross value added in quarter 2 for fiscal year 2024. Now, projected growth for manufacturing sector, it was around 25%, but that has not happened. It has stayed at 13% only. It has also been said, it has been covered in this newspaper, that manufacturing sector has lifted Indian economy in quarter 2 as GDP growth beats all estimates. So manufacturing sector is growing. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, it was growing thanks to the initiatives of government, thanks to the huge demographic advantage that we have. So because of a lot of factors, this is growing, and this will definitely grow. But how efficiently it will grow, how fast it will grow, that is something we have to see and we have to discuss. Looking at RBI Grade B syllabus for employment generation in India, part of your ESI, economic and social issues, this topic finds relevance, and there is a full-fledged topic called industrial developments in India as part of secondary sector. Or if I talk about industry, manufacturing holds a great share of your industrial sector in the country. For NABARD Grade A, again ESI syllabus, employment generation in India, industrial performance, regional imbalance in India's industrial development. And for SEBI Grade A, for whole of economics, this is important, and also important for English writing skills, especially when you study about jobless growth, when you see topics regarding demographic dividend, and or the problems of unemployment in the country. This topic is very relevant to write essays on those topics. So first of all, let's look at the expected question. And What factors contribute to the expansion of India's manufacturing sector, and what are the obstacles that hinder its growth? Answer for 600 words, that is 15 marks. This is the toughest question that you can be asked. If you are asked what are the initiatives of Government of India to promote manufacturing sector, that is going to be an easier question because that is covered as part of your static syllabus. Now, if you look at this question closely, there are two parts to it. The first part is what factors contribute to the expansion of India's manufacturing sector. So factors is one part. Factors for what? That why India's manufacturing sector is growing, is improving. The second part is what are the obstacles that are hindering its growth. So what are the challenges involved in the growth of manufacturing sector? Justified here that this question is for 600 words. It will give you 15 marks if you answer this properly. The best approach is to divide your answer into 3 parts. Have an introduction, talk about manufacturing sector. In the main body, have 2 parts since there are 2 parts in this question. And then write a conclusion where you're also giving the solutions to the challenges that you will be covering in your subheading 2 as part of your main body. So now moving on and talking about what we are going to write in introduction. We'll talk about manufacturing sector. I'm sure that you must hold a great knowledge regarding how much contribution towards GDP does manufacturing sector hold. I will give you some additional data that what is the target that we are aiming for manufacturing sector's contribution to GDP. So that has to be included in your introduction. And there will be few more tips shared with you for writing introduction for this answer. For body part 1, we'll talk about the growth drivers. We'll separate this part from the second part that talks about challenges, obstacles, whatever you want to call it. And then in the conclusion, we'll write a way forward. Now talking about introduction. First of all, explain manufacturing sector. And now here, when I say explain, you cannot start defining what manufacturing sector is. What you can talk about is, as I previously said, percentage contribution to GDP. Percentage contribution to jobs, or if you know like around how much jobs does manufacturing sector provide, that would be a great data to to make the to highlight manufacturing sector, which should be done in your introduction. What else can be done is you can talk about some of the industries involved in the manufacturing sector. For example, if in India we talk about our textiles, they're world famous. Our pharmaceuticals, medicine industry, that is world famous. So you can mention about them. Also, electronics is gaining advantage in India, so it is coming in vogue in India. There is also a rising demand for electronics. That could be mention some of the industries here. That could be your third point. What else can we write here? If you have any additions to make, kindly let me know in the chat section or in the comment section. What can be done is for example, there are many initiatives that are being run by the government which have not been asked in this question. If I take you back to the question, these initiatives have not been, nowhere been asked. But you know that Make in India is running, priority PRI initiative is running production linked initiative incentive scheme. So whatever schemes are there, that can also be mentioned in your introduction, just to highlight the importance of manufacturing sector from the government side. On the other hand, if there is some projections for this sector, for example, your Prime Minister has said that there will be 100 million jobs created with the help of manufacturing sector by this year. For example, in 2022, they plan to create 100 million jobs or 1 crore jobs coming from the manufacturing sector. So these are the popular lines which appear around the most amazing time, that is when economic survey and budget are released. So they will be like around the corner in a month. So in like 45 days they will be around the corner. So keep your eye on these statements or in these targets or goals of government, because they will help you a lot in enriching your answers, which other people might not be doing. So talking about introduction, mention it that manufacturing is emerging as an integral pillar in the country's economic growth. Why is it emerging? You can talk about its job creation potential. You can talk about other areas that you want to that you can mention. So mention some sectors here. This can be attributed to the performance of key sectors like automotive, engineering, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and consumer durables. The third is it contributes around 17% of nation's GDP. Now, in some sources, this is mentioned 13%, 15%. So our take would be refer to the latest economic survey or refer to the latest budget. There is no phase 2 examination around, no mains happening around. So refer to the latest data and include that in your answer. The best way is to keep all these data points which have to be updated highlighted in your answers so that you can update them from time to time. And over 27.3 million workers, the manufacturing sector plays a significant role in the economy. So with these 3 lines, I think the examiner is very much clear that you understand about the sector and most importantly, you understand about its importance. Then it contributes to government wants that by 2025, the manufacturing sector should contribute 25% to the GDP. So that's the goal, and that can be mentioned since, this goal will not change now. And the sector is diverse and includes a range of industries like textiles, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, and consumer durables. If you have written line number 2, then this line number 5 is not required. Then there is another goal that or a potential that can be talked about here, that India has the capacity to export goods. Export goods means you're creating those goods. You will not ask for goods from, let's say, a country like Bangladesh and then export them as your own. You will be exporting goods which are produced in the country. So whenever we talk about exporting goods, we talk about what we are doing after manufacturing those goods. So India has the capacity to export goods worth US $1 trillion by 2030 and is on the road to becoming a major global manufacturing hub. So export, manufacturing, they will run parallel. Include both these terms in your answer. Now there are some government initiatives, but before that I have this link for you. It is from ibef.org. It's a think tank and they have written an amazing article regarding the manufacturing sector in India. How can you click on this link? The PDF for this discussion will be available tomorrow on our Telegram channel. So kindly download that, click on this link and read out that article if you want more information regarding the growth of this sector. Now there are some government initiatives which you can mention in your introduction. These do not form part of your introduction, but if you want one additional line, that too, that keeping in mind the importance of this sector, government has launched a lot of initiatives like the production linked incentive scheme to scale up domestic manufacturing capability. Obviously, PM Gati Shati or National Master Plan, multimodal connectivity infrastructure project is there, Bharat Mala is there, Startup India, Make in India 2.0 and Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. I will not be getting into explanations of all of these because these today's lecture is about challenges and growth drivers of manufacturing. So now these are some of the initiatives that you can talk about. Some of the more initiatives are mentioned here: ease of doing business, national single window system, Make in India, and NICDC, and FAME India, which is there in your country to subsidize electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles which work both on battery and petrol or diesel. This scheme is running, FAME India, faster adoption and manufacturing of hybrid and electric vehicles. This can be talked about in manufacturing. So basically, you will not find a specific budgetary outlay for manufacturing. What you will find is how much electric vehicles have got the share, how much textiles, how much manufacturing, how much the pharmaceutical section or how much the automobile section has got the share in the budget. So you will have to look at all of these, how much the steel industry has got the share. So you will have to look at all these industries and then you will have to figure out that yes, the government is trying to focus on manufacturing sector. If I talk about this year's budget, the previous year, that is 2023, then it was said that it is a capital budget, capital incentive budget. That means the government was trying to establish industries, bring in more investments in the country so that manufacturing sector can get a boost. So you can use such data or use such hypothesis, which is not very tough, and add it to your answers. Now moving on to the let's delve deeper section, and here we'll be talking first of all in the body part 1 about the growth drivers of manufacturing sector. What are the factors that drive growth, which ensure that yes, manufacturing sector is growing in India or India has a potential to embellish or to enhance its manufacturing sector. So what are the growth drivers? Kindly let me know in the chat section if you have any in your mind. Even one would do. So what do you think? Do we have skilled labor? Do we have government support? Do we have adequate money or adequate investment? Is India a competitive country? Are Indian people hardworking enough so that manufacturing sector can grow, so that we can produce our own products? हम अपनी चीजें बना सकें, क्या इंडिया में ऐसा potential है? So all these things combined, they will form part of your growth drivers. This is not very tough to write, I think, and kindly think about it for like 30 seconds or so and let me know in the chat section, what do you think? Yes, better decision making, Sejal, that's right. Thank you, Ashok sir. Also Karnataka, the manufacturing state. Yes, Sejal. Tanmay, India will shift from agrarian economy to service economy directly. Yes, Tanmay, that's right. So we want to focus more on the manufacturing sector. So now, as you can see, that production-linked incentive that was started. So Dixon, which is a company of China, what it did was it shifted its manufacturing contracts to India, that for the laptops, for Lenovo laptops. So Dixon unit gets laptop manufacturing contract from Lenovo. Now there is some news, your union minister has said that more jobs have been created and boost to manufacturing sector, especially toys export has occurred after the coming up of Make in India. Then there is a news coming that Indian manufacturing market has a potential to reach $1 trillion by 2025 to 26, which we discussed in the introduction also. And Gujarat is poised to become India's foremost manufacturing powerhouse. So most of the industries will be located in Gujarat. That is where most of the products would be created. And India's manufacturing PMI, Producer Management Index, it has risen to like 56 in November, which was previously low. Now, these are some of the headlines to attract your interest. Now, talking about growth drivers, first of all, investment in manufacturing has increased. If I talk about investment, I'm not just talking about budgetary allocation. If you want India to be a developed country, we cannot just rely on budgetary allocation. We want foreign investment also. We want to explore new geographies also, like areas which have no development previously. We want to carry out development there also. So when you talk about investment, you will be talking about opening to new geographies and segments. That means new types of products are also being produced, and capital expenditure and capex and like international funds, they have increased. Mergers and acquisitions are occurring, which are making companies more productive to produce products more efficiently, which are leading to a surge in manufacturing output and resultant increased contribution to exports. Talking about competitiveness, what makes India competitive for the manufacturing sector? First of all, it's it's cheaper labor. The labor in India is not very expensive, as was in the case of China when China saw its growth. Now labor in China is becoming expensive. Second, you can talk about the trust factor that companies have with Indian government, which they don't have with China, which was there previously. So production capacity expansion, a huge semi-skilled labor force is there. India does not have highly skilled labor. We understand that very small percentage of Indian people are highly skilled, but we have semi-skilled labor force, which has a very low cost. Also, there is government policy support and there is a big domestic market. So if companies come in India and they start producing, for example, mobile phones, you can see that the prices of mobile phones, they have gone down over the previous few years. That is because of the government support, because of availability of low cost labor. Many mobile generation companies, they have set up their branches in India and they have produced mobile phones. So, and these mobile phones, they have been consumed by the Indian market itself. So companies, they just have to establish once and they will get profits year after year. So they're creating a robust pipeline, a whole circular system is being created, which also just does not generate jobs because of presence of factories or let's say companies. It also boosts the demand because more people have jobs, more economic growth is there, and hence purchasing capacity of people increases. So all these factors increase our competitiveness. The factor of trust which companies or which businesses have on India, that is not mentioned here. You can talk about it. The third one is robust demand. We will be focusing on this. It is expected that by 2030, Indian middle class is expected to have the second largest share in global consumption. That is 17% of entire global consumption will be from India. So yes, we are becoming the most populous country of the world, but we are also becoming the greatest consumers of the world by 2030. So this is very important. Why this is important? Because the most consumption, if you look at, vloggers, YouTube vloggers, or let's say people who want to sell their products. Now all of these YouTube vloggers which have Indian connections, they have a lot of viewers. They have like millions of viewers or millions of subscribers, because Indian population is that large. And secondly, because of your initiatives like Digital India and things like that, people are using a lot of mobile phones, hence consumption of such products is very large. The other factor that that we want to talk about here is that highest ever annual exports have been seen in the previous year, and there has been 6.03% growth of exports from our country in the previous year. And here electronics manufacturing has been increasing from time to time. And looking at all these statistics, many of the companies, for example, Apple wants to establish its stores in India. All your restaurant giants, food giants, they want to establish themselves in India. All your electronic appliances, they want to have their factories established in India. Why? Because demand is very high in the country, and Indian middle class will become the highest global consumer by 2030. Then there is potential to become a global hub. What do I mean by a global hub? Global hub means availability of raw materials, availability of labor, availability of assembling facilities, and availability of a market. So basically, from start of a product to end consumption of a product, everything is present in India. And why is that? Because everything will be connected here. Government is already focusing on research and development and policy support, we'll be talking about in the next point. And industry 4.0, which is pushed by artificial intelligence and things like that. So government is focusing on artificial intelligence and latest technologies like blockchain, so that it does not stay behind the latest revolution in terms of technology that's occurring. So you can talk about pharmaceuticals and textiles, that here we are already leading. Areas such as automation and robotics, this is where we are preparing to lead in future, and everything that India requires to lead in these industries is present in the country. Now the fifth one is policy support. Policy support means government is launching a lot of initiatives, government is giving tax benefits, government is government has established special economic zones where subsidies are provided or where tax rates are very, very low. So free land to set up base and 24/7 power supply to make India competitive on a global scale. You can talk about this. Then the initiatives that I gave you in the introduction, you can talk about them here. For example, production linked incentive schemes, especially for electronics. And ATMP units, for example, assembly, testing, marking and packaging units are being set up in India. And the government also brings up, let's say, digital sandbox like practices from time to time. So now the beautiful part about India and why India is going to become a manufacturing hub is because government is very, very motivated to promote this sector. Government understands the importance of manufacturing sector, and the government is coming with very innovative ideas to promote the sector. Government is like, yes, we cannot put all the money, but you bring your money, we will provide you an open playing field in our country. So initiatives like Make in India, Digital India, Startup India, they have given much thrust to the especially electronic system design and manufacturing sector in the country. Now you must have seen, not just with mobile phones, with your TV sets or with any kinds of electronics that you're purchasing, they were very, very expensive a few years ago when they were not assembled in India or when they were not made in India. Now the cost of these electronics, as you see in the market, is very, very low as compared to the previous few years, and that is just because of the policy support and initiatives like these. And whenever you talk about manufacturing sector, mention your automobile industry. A lot of automobile giants are setting up their bases in India. Secondly, talk about the electronics industry. Now moving on to the challenges, but before that, if you have any additions to make here or any doubts to that you want me to address, kindly let me know in the chat section. Yes, Bhanu, when you have to talk about hardworking people, no wonder Indian people are very hardworking. Also, we have a very strong social structure which motivates us to work hard because India is very much family oriented. So, okay, when you have to write about hardworking, make sure that's not your first point. That could be your last point, or it should be mentioned somewhere in the conclusion, because that's a soft point. That is, that is a point based on perception and not a lot of facts. Okay. So now moving on to the challenges part, that what are the challenges associated with manufacturing sector in India. So first of all, inadequate tech-based infrastructure. Second is access to credit for MSMEs. Your companies, they have inadequate access to technology-based infrastructure. Let's say you live in a small town. There are obviously electric power cuts occurring, especially in winters, because your government wants to save power or electricity for the summers. So I'm sure most of the states this time they experience power cuts, or during the entire, let's say, year, they experience water shortages, power cuts, communication problems from time to time. So this basic technology is very much required to establish a robust business. That means establish a robust manufacturing sector. Let's say now when you open any digital platform, most of the creators online that you see, which have a lot of followers and a lot of fan following, these are the people which have had the earliest access to 4G technology or the earliest access to 5G technology. So the more resources you have with yourself, and sustainability of resources, let's say stable resources you have over time, the more there are chances that manufacturing sector or any type of innovative industry would sustain. So the problem here is communication, transportation, skilled manpower, which are important for enhancing manufacturing competitiveness. Can you think of establishing electronics industry in hilly areas? Most of the companies would not like to go there, because most of the times there is just one road or one highway to reach such roads, and the cost of carrying things there is very, very high. So they always want to settle in plain areas, especially in coastal areas, so that they can export it through the help of sea routes without any transportation cost to be carried out. So telecom facilities, they're mostly confined to big telecom communication facilities, mostly confined to big cities, and state electricity boards, they are in losses and in deplorable conditions. So that's why, because of regional imbalances in terms of availability of tech-based advantages, manufacturing sector has a lot of obstacles. The second is access to credit for MSME sector. Now we have done a separate video on MSMEs, micro, small and medium scale industries. If you don't know about it, then we talk about that. Yes, many schemes have been launched, mudra loans are being given out to MSMEs, but there are so many MSMEs and there are so many budding entrepreneurs who are looking for easy access to credit, not having that stick on their head to be returning those loans after like 6 months, 1 year or that. So easy access to credit for MSMEs has to be there, because only these industries will become big with time. These are the industries which are providing the highest number of jobs in the country, if I talk about the manufacturing sector. So it appears to have less favorable access to credit and higher cost for working capital compared to medium and large scale industrial and service sectors. So yes, there is a 25 lakh crore credit gap that is there in the MSME sector, which has to be bridged. So that is a problem. Then you have skilled labor shortages. Skilled labor shortages are obviously there. Many times it has been said that the college education or the university education that students of India receive, that is not very much practically applicable in the industry. So the education does not prepare students for jobs. That's why most of the people are unemployed. There's high unemployment in your country. So there is a lack of trained and skilled labor in the manufacturing sector in India, which limits the growth of the sector. So companies, they can come for cheap labor in the country, but high skills are also required, for which they plan or they prefer to settle their bases abroad only. So why is India not a global manufacturing hub? There are twofold problem. One is stringent labor laws, and the other one is the lack of skilled workforce. That is from Financial Express from a few days back, and the stringent labor laws will be covering in the poor this complex regulation and poor supply chain part. So talking about point number 4 and talking about stringent labor laws, the manufacturing sector in India is subject to complex regulations like license, tender, audit, which can be a burden for businesses and hinder their growth. It has been said that if you start a business in India, it is very, very tough to exit. So what you do is you just stop paying attention there. There is no closing schemes for businesses in India. There is so much of red tapeism, so much of licensing is required, so many contacts are required if you have to start or establish a business, or in fact even run it. So that's why companies do not want to establish their bases here. Also, the sector is often plagued by poor supply chain management, which can lead to inefficiencies and increased cost. And where is this poor supply chain management coming from? Transport delays, inadequate availability of roads, railways and things like that. And upon that, the weather in India, especially if I talk about North India, Central India, we do not have a stable weather. Sometimes it's winters, it's rainy, it's floods, it's droughts. So that's why poor supply chain management problems are there. Then there are competition from other countries and imports. Yes, we receive cheaper textiles from Bangladesh, which we buy as branded products. You go to like popular branded showrooms in your country, and you look at where the product has been created. It has been made in Bangladesh. If you look at toys in your country, if you look at let's say electronics in your country, where were they created? They were created in China. So yes, competition from other countries and imports is there, and the government support in such countries is very, very high. So they launch very innovative products. Your Amazon is full with such products. Also, what we have is dumping. China dumps its products. China sells its excessively created quantity of products in India at very, very cheaper cost. So Indian products, they appear expensive to us, so we don't buy Indian products, while Chinese products, they are ready to go ready to go buy products. For example, when Diwali is around or when Christmas is around, the lights that we use in our houses to decorate our houses, those fairy lights, they're mostly made in China. The festivals are Indian, but the products that we use are Chinese. The statues that you buy nowadays, these are not made out of POP or clay or anything like that. We do not buy clay statues anymore. We buy statues which are made out of a plastic material that is all created in China or many times Russia. In fact, your bigger statues also, they're not made out of clay anymore, or not even out of bronze. They appear like bronze, but they're not made in India. Then finally, there are structural issues. The smaller industries want to remain small because they get tax benefits, and they do not know, first of all, they do not have the requisite support, or secondly, they do not have the intention to grow. So too many manufacturing firms remain too small for too long, so they never enjoy economies of scale. That means they do not increase their business or do not benefit out of increasing their business. Hence, they stay in the same income strata also, and they cannot create enough jobs after a certain point of time. Now that's all for this discussion. Talking about the way forward, first of all, you should have 3-4 points to mention in the first line of your conclusion, that you will be giving us solutions. Since our conclusion cannot be very long, so our solutions have to be written in terms of commas. Do not write your solutions in the terms of points. So investment in infrastructure, promoting export-oriented manufacturing. Look at what other countries want, especially what your neighboring countries want. Focus on those products. Fostering innovation, which government is already planning and doing. Improving access to finance, especially for MSMEs and budding entrepreneurs. Streamlining regulations, very much required. And encouraging skill development. Your NEP has a great role to play. New education policy has a great role to play here, and linking your educational institutions with industry or providing vocational education, that can be done. In the conclusion, talk about again importance of manufacturing sector and the potential of manufacturing sector of India. Just appreciate it, appreciate government's initiatives, and then give it a nice summary. That this India's greatest potential to drive economic growth and job creation for this decade, it is going to come from a globally competitive manufacturing sector. Then it has a significant potential for international markets. I'm not reading out the whole sentence. Then a more automated and process driven manufacturing is required, keeping in mind the demands of future, so that we are not led behind by technology. Technology does not take our jobs. In fact, we should prepare our people for automation and skill them in the desired way. Then India is a desirable location for foreign manufacturing ventures for all the factors that we have mentioned above. And then you can say that numerous companies, they've already established their bases, many more are planning to do. Otherwise, you can just skip this point and just say that entire restructuring of Indian manufacturing sector is required, which will take the efforts of all the stakeholders. The youngsters will have to take the risk to join businesses, to launch their businesses. The government will have to give out a lot of money and relax policies when it comes to manufacturing sector to get ahead in the race with all the countries. And given the demographic dividend that we have, this is the right time to invest in the manufacturing sector of our country so that we can reap the benefits of our demographic dividend. So that's how you can end this answer, you can conclude this answer. I'm displaying the question again on the screen. Kindly post your answers in the comment section under this video in the next 48 hours. So it's Friday today. Kindly post your answers by Sunday 5 p.m. not by Monday. Don't take it to Monday. Post it by Sunday 5 p.m. That's the deadline. And we will provide you a free evaluation, a very comprehensive evaluation. You can look at our previous videos and the answers students have posted and how they are benefiting out of it. We'll give you marks, we'll give you directions on which areas you have to improve, how to present better. So that's all for the day. If you have any doubts, kindly let me know in the chat section again. Otherwise, the comment section is open for you. Kindly let me know there. How are you finding this initiative? Is it useful for you? Is it benefiting you? Are you feeling more confident? Or are there some topics you want to be covered? Or if there are any problems, kindly let me know in the comment section. Or book a strategy call at this number. And you can also contact us for our courses at this number or this email ID. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. Thank you all for joining in, and I'll see you very soon on Monday at 5 p.m. with another important topic. Yes, if you're not sure about the percentages, kindly give approximate percentages and write the word around behind that. That's right. Thank you, Vindu ma'am. Subsidial scheme to MSMEs. Yes, Bhanu, that's right. You're welcome, Sejal, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay. So take care, all of you, and see you on Monday, 5 p.m.